This channel supports St. Jude's Research Hospital for Children and is a part of their Play Live charity drive. For more information on how to join as well as how to donate, please head to the description and click the link at the top of it. Remember, any and all support is appreciated, so feel free to give and support in any way you can. Thank you for your participation. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and gonna discuss the whole Super Bowl 50 press conference fallout. I felt like I need to talk about this because it just brings up, one of the things that has always bothered me about the current state of media, in particular social media, and the way that people react now to certain things. If you don't know what I'm talking about, after the Super Bowl, of course, players have to do interviews, and Cam Newton did his interview. He was very short with his answers. He really wasn't speaking. He had this really downcast look. He looked like somebody who was hurting from losing the Super Bowl. As the conference is going along, he abruptly gets up, walks off. The media explodes. Everybody's just taking to the airwaves, talking about how horrible he is, how bad of a professional he is. He's so unprofessional. He just acting like a child. He was so wrong for doing that. He needed to suck it up. What type of example is he showing? Blah blah blah. Of course, we also got some information later about how the setup was. A lot of people realized that they had it set up where on the other side of the Panthers interview section, behind the curtain, was the Broncos. Not sure why they chose to go with that setup, to be quite honest. That's a very poor setup because you could clearly hear C.J. Harris, one of the cornerbacks from the Broncos, discuss the game plan and what they were trying to do to beat the Panthers, talking about how they were trying to force him to have to pass and show them that they could pass the ball on them, and by shutting down the run, things like that. He wasn't talking trash, but I can understand at that moment you just fucking lost the Super Bowl. You had a bad game on top of that, and the other team, you're listening. It's funny because if you looked at it from the position where they picked up the sound, if you were those reporters to his left, all you heard was C.J. Harris. You couldn't hear anybody asking Cam questions, and it makes me wonder how close they were in proximity, because it's clear that Cam heard him perfectly. And that was probably the catalyst to drive him to walk away. Does that make what he did right? No. At no point would I say him just walking off was right. It would have been cool if he could have just sat through it, got through it, and finished the interview. Of course, I have no issue with him giving short answers, because at that point you just lost what the fuck you want to elaborate on shit. You just want to go home. You're just feeling, really, really bad. For those who can sit and give totally perfect interviews at that point, hey, more power to you. You are able to suck it up a lot better than some other people. Cool. But I can't sit here and judge his reaction simply because I've never been in that position. I think that's one of the things that had bothered me about the response that he got. It's okay, it does. It's messed up that he just walked off of an interview. The press are there doing their job. They're and things like that. He walked off. I don't think his anger was directed towards the press again, but at the same time, at that moment he's in a bad state. He walks off. Press can't do their job. That sucks. At the same time, I can't sit here and bash the hell out of this guy because I've never lost a Super Bowl. I've never had a Super Bowl performance where I had 2-3 turnovers, a couple leading to a couple of touchdowns, things like that. I've never been in the biggest game of my life and failed to win it. I don't know how it would feel to be in such a big moment like that and to not, accomplish your dream. You know what I mean? I work, at a regular job where my biggest worry at the moment is just not fucking up a transaction. You know what I mean? I can't equate what he feels to what I do, or to what I would do, because while I could sit here and definitely tell you guys, yo, I would never walk off like that. I would sit there and be a man. I don't know what the fuck I do in reality, and I think that's what like kills me about people who are coming down on him, is that for the most part, the people who had the most to say never had to be in that position. And I'm not talking about the position of actually losing. I'm talking about losing a Super Bowl. Yes, I know there were a lot of professional football players that talked down on him, but people like, and as much as I love Deion Sanders, I have to say this. He's never been in that position where he lost a Super Bowl and was the front and center guy, was the face of the team, and had to go up there and talk about his devastating loss. The few Super Bowls he was in, he won them all. Steve Young, although I don't think he was that critical, same thing. He ain't never lose a Super Bowl. You don't know, he's always been in the winning side. And reporters, beat reporters or TV reporters, they've never ever been in that type of situation, because most of them have really never played athletics or anything like that. So yeah, it's easy for the Stephen A's and the Skip Baylesses and the Mike and Mikes. And I'm not saying these people criticize, although I believe Stephen A was critical. Just any of the talking heads or the writers when it comes to sports media, you don't know that man's feelings or how that feels. You missing the deadline on the story or not getting an interview that you've coveted don't equate to that. So it's like the harsh reaction on him that these people are giving to me just don't make sense. Of course, we're in a very critical era, especially, again, social media. And that's the thing. Social media has made it so easy for everybody to step up and speak loudly and be heard, that people will do that just to do it, and to grab attention. I saw Deion Sanders going back and forth with fans, because fans were outraged at what he was saying, and he was just like sniping back at them, and it's just like, it was comical, because it's like, why are y'all going back and forth? And I'm not just dissing the people who are criticizing Cam. I really do want to, like, people who weren't happy with the response, your response was equally, if not more, poor to the criticism of Cam. People were just like getting extremely personal, attacking people who had something negative to say. It's like, yo, they're not even talking about you or your family or someone, like a loved one. You're really, really coming at them as if they're threatening you or something like that. It was ridiculous. Some of the things that was said to Deion Sanders, I'm like, yo, y'all need to chill. It's shit's not that serious. But people were taking it. You would have thought that they'd just been violated, and they were trying to get retribution. It's like, no, people, it's getting out of hand on both sides. I don't understand why the fuck it has to be this way. But I mean, that's the reality of today's society. Everything is so out there. Again, social media makes it so easy for people to speak, for people to access information. It's like nothing on a public level can go by without being talked about voraciously nowadays, because it's not like back in the day where if I broke a story, I had to wait until I wrote an article, gave it to my editor, he approved, and then we may do a special edition press late at night or something like that. Or even with TV, where you had to wait until the TV came in with a special, and if you weren't there to see the TV, you wouldn't know until word of mouth spread. Now everybody can pick up their phone, look at Twitter, Facebook, what have you, and know exactly what happened, damn near at the moment it happened in a lot of cases. It's crazy, but it's just like I said in my tweet, it's just a sign of how like bad things have got, where all you get is back and forth, you know, bullshit talk and grandstanding over a moment. For me, I understand the dude's hurting. I don't know how he totally feels, so I'm not gonna begrudge him for not wanting to sit through and have the interview. It's a tough moment. I can't imagine how it feels, so I'm not gonna sit here and judge him. And I think that's the problem, is that people who are judging him, they're judging people who are judging. It's way too much judgment going on, and it's become a ridiculous thing. He spoke on it, and he said, like, yeah, I agree. I acted like a loser. But if you don't show me a person who doesn't act like they're upset about losing, and I'll show you a true loser. Kind of makes sense in a way, because he wanted to win, And these players, you have to remember, these players, they really, really, some of them are really, really about their, profession. They're very passionate about it. It's not just about money for them, And you kind of, if you're a fan of a sport, you want that in your athlete. At the same time, it would have been nice if he could have not act that way. More so just to avoid this conversation that we're having. Because at the end of the day, it's a stupid conversation. Why are we having this big fight and argument over this? Again, none of us know how that dude feels, and none of us really could tell you how to react. If you are someone who could suck it up better, good on you. That doesn't make, bashing him any more, any more right. It's just like, let it go. It happened. It shouldn't be the biggest deal as it is, but of course, again, like I said, the way things go now, social media and all that, it's not a surprise. But I want to hear what you guys think. So as always, hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This is your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.